Hi, everybody. Uh, Glad everybody is okay on a Thursday night, hopefully. And we have a few questions. By the way, there won't be a Thursday night for the next 2 Thursdays because I'll be on the road in New Jersey and Roanoke. So here's a question by, there's two of them here. One by Carol Corbet and one Gian Irvin. And both of them have similar questions, and I'll try to attend to them as I can. Jeannie says, can you discuss strong physical symptoms and how they relate to energy moving? How related to growth? And then symptoms such as physical pain, like in the brow or the buttocks or the neck, significant pressure in the head and neck, eyeballs, dizziness, nausea. It's a whole mixture of things here. Symptoms may be long-lasting, and personality has strong responses to it. How does the personality respond to deal with these things? How can we deal with this and understand, be helpful to learn how this relates to growth? So in other words, how is this helping us?
And she said it had been checked out physically, right?
And yeah, he had. She also said that she's checked everything out physically, and there is no problem with her physical body at all. When you're dealing with these kinds of things, you have to try and remember what our personality structure is like. This is everybody. Nothing to do with anybody in particular, just everybody. This energy comes in to support our growing. What's that mean? It naturally comes in a normal manner to help you literally engage and keep your focus on how you have been before. It's an act of engaging with love. Why is that so? Because you love yourself the way you are. You keep it that way the best you possibly can for a purpose that relates to those years that you have attempted to construct a personality relative to how you believe it should be constructed for you. Okay. So that energy coming in helps you to do that. There's a lot of unknown in that because much of our interaction with daily life is reflexive. And we are, in terms of our awareness, focused on maintaining a kind of link on these matter planes with how we preserve our relationship with how other people see us and how we want them to think about us. It's a little bit of a bamboozlement here on our part, because that energy coming in will do exactly what we need to do to maintain, whether you're looking at the material structures or spiritual structures, to maintain a belief or a reflexive unknown understanding of how you think you need to be. All right. Now you want to grow spiritually. You really don't know what that means, and most people don't. but almost everybody has a view of what it must be based on cultures that they've been involved with and how they have experienced a sense of what they read, what they their experience, for example, whatever that may be, and that they classify. All of us do this, by the way, how we think we are, and then proceed to interact with life in sometimes similar ways, sometimes very different ways. We don't see it. So this higher state wants us to be like it, love like it, see like it. It's an aspect of spirituality. It's an aspect of loving. So what begins to happen is a little bit more energy comes in to an already formulated personality style, personality relationship with itself. The individual, what I mean by that is, loves itself the way it is. Even if it's miserable, it doesn't matter. Even if it's deluded into thinking it's the most grandest person in the whole world. Or just too busy to bother with that stuff. This assessment of self, just trying to live day to day. So many different aspects, so many personalities, 8 billion of them on our planet now. What about all the ones that were here before? Don't bother with them. New ones coming in all the time. They'll come in, they'll engage with backgrounds, culture, natural, parental backgrounds. They'll construct their own views about all of that. And then they will engage naturally and normally the way they believe they need to be recognized in the world as valuable, somehow, some way, someplace. And they will do that because they have a great belief that if they don't do that, they're not worthy of something. And this is not true. However, personalization says that it might be true. And it makes us feel comforted to think like this. Here comes energy, loving like crazy. You want to grow spiritually, so let us help you to be aware like these states are. No judgment in it. I know a lot of people believe there's all kinds of judgment, but no judgment in it. It's loving. Loving comes in. It affects the personality in that it already has love coming into it to help it to do what it thinks it needs to do. Then loving comes in from another perspective, trying to help you to open up even more and be more aware of how you engage with others, how you engage with self, and so that you can learn how to perceive that love in a manner that is quite different than how you've been trained to perceive it. All right. How's it start? Well, the personality, using the chakras, that's what I will do, has a personal will, a particular way of seeing the world. Gonad center, root center. It intensifies that and stretches it out and defends it with the emotional disposition. In the meantime, all of those three centers is attempting to bring energy up and stimulate the brow, stimulate the brain and the nervous system. And when this begins to happen, it's kind of a implication is there that there is, since there is much more, a much broader perspective to be possibly noted from a more universal perspective, I'll say broader perspective, what begins to happen is an individual begins to notice things, in other words, begins to see in themselves. The same critique that it gives to others, that it's been trained to do so, and helps, which originally helps people to live and live reasonably well, is turned upon itself. In other words, intensity increases. It's already in the personality. If your personality shell is cultivated that way, most of ours is to some degree, then there's a kind of a critical aspect about what? About the definitions you think you already have about loving, about spirituality. The personality style has a method. It's a tool. You don't find that out. You use all the methods that you've constructed in your life to assess the world. And the world happens to be a part of you. You begin to see in you increased intensity. That increases the intensity you already had in your personality. But it attempts to open centers that will be helpful. The gonad center begins to link up with the throat. In other words, energy comes up from the gonad center, moves into the throat area, and starts to open it differently than it was already open in the construction of your normal personality. And you start to notice things happening in the throat area. So my advice is always check it out. Make sure you're physically okay, which of course the questioner did. And fine, it's fine. Couldn't find anything in the head, in the nervous system at all. Think of this as yours, not the questioner's, not Jeannie's, not anybody else's, not Carol's. And think of it as the possibility is that the personality is beginning to notice how they function in terms of almost listening to music. You hear your intensity more. You try to understand it a little bit, but you know you're reacting, or may not know you're reacting, and you seek to validate a biased view about any interaction you have with other people. This is just normal stuff. This is not negative, not even spiritual, except you begin to be aware of some stuff going on. That is a shift in your inner awareness. Because Previously, you were just focused on doing it. So there's no negation here. This is an act of love to help you to be aware more of what's going on inside. Also recognizing that it may also be going on in every individual who is growing, actually growing. Meaning actually becoming aware of that energy that flows in you and through you. No matter how subtle and no matter how cursory. And here we are. I used saying that my actual personality previously was bad. No, it was what it was. It's just those are the situations that you lived in that affected you in a certain way, and you attempted to survive them in a manner that made some sense to you at the time, which didn't always know what you were doing. There was reflexive responses going on always. To open up an awareness to some of those reflexive responses is to begin again. Almost like being okay with developing a broader understanding and a broader construction, and being okay and kind and respectful and gentle with your growing again. That calms down the intensity of use of energy, at least it begins to do so, in engaging with life, with others, and with yourself. It takes a while to begin to understand that others are going through the same thing in their methodology. They're not bad. They're not good, great. They're just doing the thing they normally did before with, if they are growing, with more energy coming in. And they must be careful that they don't increase what they were doing before, depending on what that may be. They may not be able to discern what that is because they're growing, as all of us are. So it's not about being perfect in this. It never has been. It's about being able to handle a broader flow of energy in the throat center, in the brow center, in the head center, the crown center, and in the heart center. You see, the heart center has been open for almost everybody. Just a bit relating to, and the throat center, the brow, and the crown, a bit relating to the ability to engage the way you've constructed your personality, the way life has touched you, the way you've responded to it, what you've copied from other people, what you happen to do on your own accord from your perspective. And the most wonderful thing about it all is that energy always went to where you wanted to take it. Because that's an act of helping. Now, as you become more conscious, you're vulnerable because something is shifting in the comforting zones of your personality. There's no bad boy, bad girl, bad this, bad that. It's more like, Okay, how can we do something slightly different? Wow, I'm not able to do it there. How about over here? Yeah, I think I could do it better over there. How about over here? Yeah, maybe. Let me try that. And then, what? What? What's going on? I don't want to change all that stuff. And what? I was really recognized in that other place much more than I would be recognized if that thing I'm recognized for has changed. The purpose in this is to have energy come in for the helping of others so that they can begin to grow internally, spiritually, and begin slowly to feel that, recognize that, know that relationship with that flow, which is our reality at that level. In the meantime, it's not about changing all of your personality. And some parts are bad and some parts are good. The brow center sometimes needs stretching because it shifts your relationship or your belief that basically you're the only person that's right or the only person that's wrong. That's annoying if it's central to your personality's background. And it's frustrating. You can't hardly believe it because you have to reinforce that to be recognized as what? As what you believe you are. That belief is an act of love on your part for you. It's about you knowing you and loving you. The love you give you can be dissipated. The love that comes into you can't. On these levels, your relationship with these levels features the expression of how you were trained and how you helped to train yourself and how you believe things should be. And sometimes that doesn't make any sense because sometimes things are hurtful. And that's another whole ball of wax. That hurtfulness somehow is you loving you. That's very strange. But it happens to all of us. It's interesting because as the throat and brow center starts opening, remember, it affects the root gonad and solar plexus, meaning it gives more energy to that level from a different level than how those upper levels were fed before. When they start opening stronger than what they had been, they will stretch your personality to move in a direction that allows you to see through yourself. We can't have that happen too quickly because we will turn our roughness, our judgments upon ourselves. So be okay with being soft and kind to yourself and understanding that others need that kindness too in their growth because they're reflexively doing what they've done before and cannot see it. This is a very interesting question by Jeannie, and of course by Carol Corbet as well, because the link between those questions is very much involved with honest, deep spiritual development. Ultimately, some of these old frameworks that we've had in our personalities, like experiences at 6 months, 7 months, 3 years, 5 years, 12 years, 15 years, 50 years, whatever. And our responses to them, some of those old responses, you'll notice comes up when you're no longer using them as much as you did before. That higher state energy may turn that on for a second or two, or a day or two, and it's very frustrating for you. But it will operate through that old framework into someone who really used to or does have that same framework, very similar. And because you've overcome some of that stuff, the help in that overcoming that you got can be transmitted to those folks. You'll never meet those folks. This is a broader perspective than something that relates to I was there, I helped everybody, blah, 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 blah. That stuff is personality stuff. And it's what makes us feel as if we're superior to other people. Those higher states understand that. And so will help you to grow to the point where you can say, let me see, I think that energy went through me. I don't know where it was honestly going. But then I noticed that it went in that direction. That's interesting. That's the end of your talk. Because the energy went through you. We're not set up to do that. We're in it. It went through me, it's mine. So there. That makes me important. Everybody is important prior and including the time when you grow. Because the helping of another, because you can handle a certain amount of flow, is vital. Where our dilemma starts is, if we're not used to something, we look at differences. Well, that's harder than it used to be, or that was a little bit tender. Yep. Or, whoa, that was really bad. Depending on the nature of our style, our personality style. We are a sensory system, obviously. So we will perceive something going on as we continue to grow. And then we'll have a biased response about what it is. If we can soften that response, we can soften the actual sensing that we're a part of. This seems rather weird. But basically what I'm saying is, when we intensify, our internal intensity is magnified. And it affects things. It affects those centers and how they come in, because it's linked into, oh, is this what you want? Okay. It means if you want to explore being sensitive enough to be hurting, it's not anybody's fault that they're hurting, then you can really exaggerate that or increase it. I know right away, through my experience, at least to some degree, those things have hurt me from time to time. And then they're gone. What I normally would say was, easy does it now. Don't stop my growing, but for heaven's sake, a little softer, a little softer. And then someone will come up with the idea, well, shouldn't it know that if it's really important and valuable? It should know. We don't know it. We don't even know the intensity that we have in our daily life. But we get to learn slowly. We begin to soften it a little bit without faking it. It's not a voice thing. It's an inner thing. So you can't fool that higher state. You can fool people all you want, but you can't fool that higher state. So just so you know, that these experiences are not uncommon. And after folks have attempted to soften down their responses more and more, it helps to soften that flow coming in, because it's not coming in then the same as it did previously prior to an increase in flow. I hope that made some sense. It's often not so easy to make sense of those things, but I think that helps you both. And here's one from Barbara Newport. She's talking about a writer. I have been reflecting on the book 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and thinking that some cultures incorporate concept of permeability between the spiritual states and the concrete world more than our society does. I'm not going to comment on anything until I've read all of this. Does that make it easier for those people to observe the manifestation or influence of other states in life? And conversely, make it more difficult for Westerners to experience this? I assure you, Barbara, that Westerners have the same concept, and they have a very strong concept about their system being the only system. However, we're talking about Marquez here. Marquez, a very interesting writer, for those who have read 100 Years of Solitude, was trying to put forward, my perspective, of course, an idea that we, in our whole society, individually, are like the individual who is the hero of his book. It's been years since I read that book, but here was a wonderful way to do things. He was tilting at windmills. I'm sorry?
I think it's a different author.
Oh, I don't think so.
Tilting windmills?
Oh, 100 Years of Solitude. You're actually right. You're exactly right. Sorry, Marlene was trying to help me put things straight. If you read this book, 100 Years, you will find an interaction with all kinds of people. Strange as strange could be. I think he was talking literally about everybody, every single person on the planet. But their strangeness is not necessarily perceived unless you can, like a reader, move yourself away from the actual family and all its background. And the culture, that small, so societal culture. When you're looking at this, there's a wonderful hint, in my opinion, where you look at this from a distance. You look at yourself from a distance. And that's the only way that you can begin to see something that might be similar to other people. If you look at yourself with the glorification of the moment that makes you feel comfortable, glorification might be a little bit heavy, but I'm just going to use that word anyway. Your pride in the self, whether you know it or not, you are really, in a kind of a way, delusional. Well, he's saying everybody is delusional. No exceptions. And here is a story. You should read that story if you haven't. In my opinion, it is a fantastically interesting story. And it takes you a minute or two as you're reading it to make sense of anything. But if you take the book at a distance, the book as a distance, at a distance, you suddenly realize that the relationship that you're dealing with is not about just one culture. It's about every culture. And, it's so interesting. A person who believes one way in the material, like Barbara happens to mention Westerners. There are many Westerners who have religious backgrounds, but many Westerners have material backgrounds. And there's so much pride about how important they are because they think of things this way or that way. As if they know something. As if every situation knows something. It thinks. But it knows only what it can handle knowing. Only what comforts them. Don't care what comforts them. What we end up doing in society is assessing a societal relationship that we're a part of, whether it be spiritual or material. I sometimes think there is no difference whatsoever. Other times I think there is. It's up to you to take a look at things. I would suggest that when you're looking at spiritual things, you realize that the bulk of our spiritual orientation is material. And perhaps the bulk of our material and spiritual is spiritual because you're moving from one effective bias to another, one that you feel comfortable with, whoever it is you're listening to or engaged with. Looking at it from a broader perspective, we come up with things that are in a culture constructed to be valued, same as you did in your personal life, anybody's personal life. You come up and you are the way you are because you believe that is the right way to be, and you believe, as we all do, that that's a value. And it is. Because each one is going through themselves. They grow through them. Or they tighten up and relate directly to how it seems to be. There are some books you can read. Let's say you have a PhD in physics from 1962. And you read the newest perspectives on physics. And you're pretty sure that you've figured out everything based on 1962. suddenly you're hit with the ideas that relate to 2023. And you say, well, that doesn't make sense. I thought it was more like this. That's what we were told to remember. Yeah, we all know this. In reverse, looking at how we are can give you some laughs. It's a bit strange. Look, it's so funny. I mean, years ago, I used to get on a Toronto subway and try to pick out similar physical forms to some of my friends or others I knew. Weren't really totally friends, but they were physical forms and good acquaintances. We enjoyed our company together. And you start to notice that there are physical forms similar to other people's physical forms. And you're fascinated by that. Well, I was in the 60s for sure. And I thought, isn't that interesting? There are so many physical forms that are similar to other people's physical forms. A way a person walks, one person. That's the same way as so-and-so walks. It's the way a person holds their chin, the length of their neck, the way they turn and engage with the world. So many people have similar characteristics. Serge and I were in a subway in Korea. And for a second or two, I thought, I wonder if this is like the subway I used to take in Toronto. I'm looking around, and there are people who are similar in the way they walk, in the way they engage, in the way they move their body, in the way they are constructed. Longer neck, ears differently, arms, shoulders different, all of this. There are certain kinds of similarities. If we look at emotional dispositions, strangely, there are some similarities amongst people under certain conditions. People do this versus doing that. Even if that was the way they always did life, they're now doing this, something different, because of a pressure based on their engagement with life. People are all doing something similar all over the world. We have a core of expression. Mentally, how you think, how you engage. Some of those are very similar all over the world. Many, I would say. So we're like a species, constantly engaging in similar manners to maintain a kind of unknown reflexive methodology of how to function as a human being on the planet Earth. It's very strange. Add to that the internalization relative to the importance of an individual and their version of how life should be. Now, life has many options, billions of them. And then you find criticism in every culture, every nation, about how things should be, because there's an illusion of having things in a certain way on this level. And everyone in the West does this, and everyone in the East does that, and whole generalizations, they're not real. It is worthwhile considering some things like this. You have to do that. You can only do it for yourself. And when you do that, it will confuse the bias you have, but it will broaden the bias you have. I hope you heard the last part. Make it different so that you can prepare to have it even more different and be okay with growing so that your intensity can soften down. There is one feature about inner growth, true inner spiritual growth. No one knows the ultimate state of it. Almost everybody thinks they do. But you can learn that it continues. And hopefully slow enough that we can handle it. And it has a relationship with loving. There's an inner peace that starts to flow in it, an inner gentleness. It's almost, how can I say this? Almost immobilizing in a second. You don't want to get out of it. And you don't want to talk about it. You just want to stay there. How long you would stay there? No, maybe not long, because we have learned how to protect what we already consider valuable. Then we will use that as an image of value. It is an image of value, but the experience itself is one that when it occurs, has nothing to do with you personally. It's not a personality thing. It's an engagement with the flow of energy that relates to a state that from your perspective, is wondrous. Just for a second, maybe you can go to 2 or 3 or 4, but the personality will jump in to slow it down and away. Because the ownership of that is an illusion. Nobody owns it. It happens to some. And others are preparing to have it happen by gentling their relationship with themselves and trying to learn, trying to understand deeper than they're capable of doing at this second, at this juncture, in this context. All of our contexts are related to living life on these levels, not being important on these levels, because that's still a relationship with a point of reference that elevates the personality rather than recognition and perception of that flow. We are where we are. And let's hope that we can move forward piece by piece, little by little. Please don't feel vulnerable because you have more energy coming into the brow or the throat. Do your best with it. And Carol also mentioned behind the neck and down the back or up the back. And these things do happen. They can happen up the front. They can happen, you can even feel them on the sides where your neck will be in a kind of movement side to side. It's all part of it. Go slow. Calm yourself down the best you can. And be respectful to others and yourself. The best you can. The best you can. Little by little. So we're getting close to 8 o'clock. I think it's about close to 10 too. I think what we're going to do is meditate now. Thank you very much for the questions. There's a couple more, and I'll try to talk to them when I get back at the end of March. So I wish you all well, and it's wonderful that you are actually growing, and these are just symptoms and symbols of inner growth, learning how to soften down the personalized intensity. It's not a simple thing. Just do what you can, best you can. I wish you all well. We're just going to find a little bit of music and excuse me for a minute. And I'll just close it off and meditate till we'll likely meditate to about 10 to. I wish you all well, everybody. See you in Roanoke.
यदि भवति शक्तः प्रभवितुम् न चेदेवं देवं न खलु कुशलः स्पन्दितुमपि अतस्त्वाम् आराधां हरिहरं विरिञ्चादिभिरपि प्रणतुं स्तोतुं कथमकृत् पुण्यः प्रभवति अविद्यानाम् अन्तःस्थिमिरमिहिरद्वीपनगरी जडानां चैतन्य स्तबकं मकरन्द श्रुतिझरी दरिद्राणां चिन्तामणि गुणनिका जन्मजलधौ निमग्नानां दंष्ट्रा मुररिपु वराहस्य भवति त्वदन्य पाणिः अभय वरदो दैवत गणः त्वमेका नैवासि प्रकटित वराभीत्यं भिनया भयात्रातुं दातुं फलमपि च वाञ्छा समधिकम् शरण्ये लोकानां तव हि चरणं वेव निपुः धनुः पुष्पं मौर्विमधुकर मयि पञ्च विशिखा वसन्तः सामन्तो मलय मरुदायो धनरथ तथापेकः सर्वं हिमिकिरिसुते कामपि कृपा अपाङ्गास्ते लब्ध्वा जगदिदं मनङ्गो विजयति। सुधा सिंधो मध्ये सुरविटपि वाटी परिवृते मणिद्वीपे नीपोपवनवती चिन्तामणि गृहे शिवाकारे मञ्चे परमशिव पर्यन्तनिधया भजन्ति त्वां धन्या कतिचन चिदानन्दलहरी। मही मूलाधार कमपि मणिपुरे उत वः स्थितम् स्वाधिष्ठाने हृदि मरुतमाकाशमुपरि मनोऽपि भ्रूमति सकलमपि भित्वा कुलपथम् सहस्रारे पद्मे सह रहसि पत्या विहरसि। चतुर्भिः श्रीकण्ठे शिवयुवतिभिः पञ्चभिरपि प्रभिन्नाभिः शम्भोः नवभिरपि मूलप्रकृतिभिः चतुश्चत्वारिंशत् वसुधर पराश्र त्रिवलय विरेखाभिः सार्धं तव चरणकोणां परिणतम् त्वदीयं सौन्दर्यं तुहिन गिरिकन्ये तुलयितुम् कवीन्द्राः कल्पन्ते कथमपि विरिञ्चि प्रभृतयः यदा लोकौ सुख्यात् अमरललना यान्ति मनसा तपोभिः दुष्प्रापामपि गिरिश सायुज्य पदवी कवीन्द्राणां चेतः कमल वनपालातक रुचिं भजन्ते सन्तः कतिचित् अरुणामि भवति विरिञ्चि प्रियस्या तरुणतर शृङ्गार लहरी गभीराभिः वाग्भिः विदधति सतां रञ्जनमणि सवित्रीभिर्वाचा शशिमणि शीलाभङ्ग रुचिभिः वशिन्या द्याति जननी सञ्चिन्तयति यः सकर्ता काव्यानां भवति महतां भङ्गि रुचिभिः वचोभिः वाग्देः वदन कमलां मोद मधुरै मुखं बिन्दुं कृत्वा कुचयुगम् अधस्तस्य तदधो हरार्धं ध्यायेद्यो परमहिषु ते मन्मथ कदा ससत्यः संशोभं नयति वनिताम् इत्यतिलघु त्रिलोकीमप्याशु भ्रमयति रविन्दु स्तनयुगम् शिवः शक्तिः कामः क्षितिरथ रविः शीतकिरणः स्मरो हंसश्चक्रम् तदनु च परामार हरयः अमीर्लेखाभिः तिसृभिः अवसाने घटिता भजन्ते वर्णास्ते तव जननी नामावय वताम् गते माणिक्यत्वं गगननिभिः सान्द्रघटितम् किरीटन्ति हिमगिरिसुते कीर्तयति समीरे यच्छाया रणशबनम् चन्द्रशकरम् धनुः शौना किमिति न निबध्नाति धीषणा ललाटं लावण्यं द्युतिविमलम् आभाति तदयत् द्वितीयं तन्मन्ये मुकुटघटितं चन्द्रशकरम् विपर्यासि न्यासात् उभयम् अपि सम्भूय च मिथः सुधारे पश्यति परिणम् इति रागा हिमकरः भ्रुवोऽग्नि किञ्चित् भुवनं भयभङ्ग व्यसनिनो नेत्राभ्यां मधुकर रुचिभ्यां धृतगुणा धनुर्मन्ये सवेतरकरा गृहीतं रतिपतेः प्रकोष्ठे मुष्टौ च स्थगयति निगूढां तरमुमे अहं सूते सव्यं तव नयनम् अर्कात्मकतया प्रियामा वामन्ते सृजति रजनी नायकतया द्वितीयाति दृष्टिः दरदरित इमां भुजरुचिः समाधत्ते सन्ध्या दिवसनिशयोः अन्तरचरी विशाला कल्याणी स्फुटरुचिः अयोध्याकुवलयैः कृपाधारा धारा किमपि मधुरा भोगवती का भवन्ति दृष्टिस्ते बहुनगर विस्तार विजया तत्तत् नाम व्यवहरण योग्या विजय कवीनां सन्दर्भस्तब्ध मकरन्दैकरसिकम् कटाक्ष व्याक्षेप भ्रमरा कलभ कर्णयुगलम् अमुच्यन्ता दृष्ट्वा तव नव रसास्वाद तरलम् असूया संसर्गात् फलिकनयनम् किञ्चित् दरुणम् शिवे शृङ्गाराद्या तदितरजने उत्सनपरा सरोषा गङ्गायां गिरिशम् चरिते विस्मयवती हराहिभ्यो भीता सरसिरुहा सौभाग्य जननी सखीषु स्मिरन्ति मयि जननी दृष्टिः सकरुणा गते कर्णाभरणं भरतम् इव पक्ष्माणि दधति पुरां भेतुः चित्तप्रशमरस विद्रावणहरे निमीलिते गोत्राधरपति कुलोत्तम सकलिके तवाकर्णाकृष्टं स्मरशर विलासं कलयत विभक्त विवर्णं व्यतिकरिता नीलाञ्जन तयो विभाति त्वन्नेत्रं त्रितयमिदम् ईशान दयिते पुनः स्रष्टुं देवा द्रोहिणा हरिरुद्रां उपरताम् रजः सत्त्वं बिभ्रत्तमम् इति गुणानां त्रयमेव पवित्रीकर्तुं पशुपति पराधि हृदये दयामित्रैः मित्रैः अरुणं धवल श्याम रुचिभिः नदः शोणो गङ्गा तपनः तनयेति ध्रुवमम त्रयाणां तीर्थानाम् उपनयसि सम्भेद मनः निमेषो ईशाभ्यां प्रलयमुदयं याति जगति तवेत्याह सन्तो धरणीधर राजन् तनये त्वदुन्मेषान् जातम् जगदिदम् अशेषम् प्रलयतः परित्रातुं शङ्के परिहृत निमेषास्तव दृशः सरस्वत्या दक्षिणा विधिहरिसपत्ना विहरति रते पातिव्रत्यं शिथिलयति रम्येण वपुषा चिरं जीवन्नेव शपितम् पशुपाश व्यतिकरः परानन्दाभिख्यां रसयति रसं त्वद्भजनवा
Now we'll just begin to do the balancing and grounding on your own. And have a good evening, everybody.